page number Zion spoke about in the middle of he started talking about that the loss of law will be a shmoy. In page number Zion, started talking about how in page number loss of law with Zion Hashem echad shmoy echad. There's not going to be a separation, a period between Yudke and Vavke, and when it says Nifrat, it had brought the pasuk when nirgan mafrid aluf. That period is something that results in the result of nirgan. Nirgan. So he started talking first. He said nirgan means. I mentioned like for Teiva, he complains. They brought the pasuk by the Meraglim. The Meraglim says "Vaterogna ba'aleichem," the same concept of nirgan, which means a complainer. So he says complainer really means kfui teiva. What is kfui teiva? Teiva means that somebody did good for you and you complain. The Eibishter said after so that brings the medrash. Eibishter says after from Hashem and the Meraglim complained b'sinas Hashem Yisonu Yitzonu Me'eretz Mitzrayim. So to explain that, he went a step further. What is Yitzonu Me'eretz Mitzrayim? What's the difference between Mitzrayim and Eretz Yisrael? That Mitzrayim, the rain, the watering of the fields is automatic, natural from the Nilus, and in Eretz Yisrael, b'imtar Hashemayim tishtamayim. Depends on the rain. What's it? That's the difference. Hashpar chitzon and hashpar pnimis. You got into this whole discussion. Hashpar chitzon and hashpar pnimis. But another pasuk. There's a stewardess. Teiv Hashem lakoil. Some more pasuk says Teiv Hashem lakoil. Teiv Hashem lakoivov. The Eibishter good to everybody. Only there was who hope for him. Lakoivov. Nefesh tidrashenu. The soul, the person who demands him, wants him. To explain, this is the difference between Hashpar Chitzoni and Hashpar Pnimis. Hashpar Chitzoni is something that comes automatically, independent of whether he interested in the mashpia is interested in the makabel. Mashenken Hashpar Pnimis it only depends on the makabel. So he goes back to what the Meraglim did. That's in page Samar Zayin Shom Aschas Es HaToivim Shebahem. L'ashpor zu tzich malo asman. In order to get the Hashpar Pnimis, need lo asman. V'Meraglim lo yotze v'izlo bit. Meraglim didn't want to be in a state of bittul, in a lo asman, avoida. B'achom b'Hashpar Chitzonis. They wanted, should be, it's on the Meretz Mitzrayim. They want to go back to Mitzrayim. It's in Mitzrayim, the Hashpar is Hashpar Chitzonis, but it doesn't require avoida. So that's the definition. That's the meaning of the matter. It means they were not interested in Teiva Vaila Koivav. They didn't want Teiva Vaila Koivav. They didn't want the madrig of Hashpar Pnimis.
Why?
Why? Doesn't say why. Maybe because they're lazy, or because they're not interested. They're not interested in Aveda. Yeah, it doesn't say why. that's the Chetam argument. Why did they sin? They didn't want.
Alamol, the BO is because they wanted to have it was better in such a ruchnistic life. But here he's saying that they did not have bitter.
No, that's not that's BO. That's a different. Okay, you're saying that the BO it says in Chassidus and the Torah Shlach that they wanted to have ruchnistic life. That's not the pirush here. I mean, we can find some kind of tivuch, but that's not the. This is not the pirush here by the Chetam Meraglim. It says what teogno. It's a negative thing. Maybe it can be matav the pirushim. I don't know. That's not the pirush until it takes an arm. That's Hashpar Chitzonis. I mean, like I said, you can say the same thing. They don't want to stay in a ruchnistic place. There's no need for avodah. Everything comes from Ma'ila. Similar. It says Mitzrayim. But in all the Maimorim talks about there are midbar that they wanted to stay there. That's a higher level of Gilui. They wanted to be kabel from the Ma'ila. Here it says Mitzrayim sounds something. I don't think it's not the same. In other words, it's two different parts of the Amidbar. That's the Amidbar who wants to go back to Mitzrayim. So that part, I don't think my Maram Shlach doesn't. I don't remember, but I don't think over there it talks about they want to go back to Mitzrayim. It talks about they wanted to stay in Midbar because the Midbar was a place that got everything Milmaila. Masha'enken here talks about they want to go back to Mitzrayim. So it's not the same, I think. Okay, but that's a good point. Maybe we can look into some kind of tiur. Okay, so all this pilpul was just to bring to elaborate and to expand the concept and pasuk nirgan mafridal further. That is the meaning of mafridal. Shemafrid prinas ichud alien the zo doesn't mean ichud elo here because this zon is not ichud elo. Ichud alien, the higher ichud of zoven nukva. Mele eine nimsha gam prinas alef el pele elen b'chachma. וכידוע בעניין הצדיק עובד ועוז אין אחד כמו שכוסה בזרע שלו. So it brings the Zohar says that tzaddik avad means when he lose the tzaddik avad means there's no yichud of zun. Well, eine echad. I think eine echad goes back to echad. There's no Hashem echad or Shema echad. Look up what he's talking about. It's there here. 1 second. This is the Zohar. Let's see. One place is there here. This is the Zohar talking about. Yeah, okay. So this Zohar is in Parshas Tzav. 1 second, I want to find another one. We'll find something else. I don't know. Tzaddik Avad is a different concept. But okay, well, let me read the Zohar. The Zohar Chelek Gimel says, "Toch hazi, Chai ve'alma." The Chayav means the people. The Shoyim gam lelekot shabrich leistalok miknas Yisrael. That they caused the Rebishter to remove the miknas Yisrael. Though the Ksiv ishta poches shalach modern nirgan mafred aluf manu aluf. But Shabricha Aluf Shaloilam, Madat Omar Aluf Nura Yoto, Inan Chayve Mafrishan the Zois Mize, they separate the Zois Mize, it means the Knesset Sov and Shabricha, the Yushlama the base of Inan Zivagachod. So that is the inyan of Mafri. And then it says, Zeh Korban Aaron, Hashem Hashem, the two Korban Aaron, Ishtaka Kol Echad B'loi Piruda. They do the opposite. They fix the problem, the Ichud. That's what it says in Zeh. My son is going back to, okay, so this whole Nirgan again. So the way he started the whole thing of Nirgan Mafred Aluf, he started saying that it says in Pasuk Vayikol Shem Hashem Avay Kel Oilam V'Loi Kel Hoilam. But so Vayita Eshel Be'Shava, that is like explained in the Maimer earlier. That's the Amshachar Ilan from the Sheirish, and that brings Kel Oilam V'Loi Kel Oilam, which means for that he brings the Gemara Shmoi Echad. The Vavke and Yutke should not be separated. So Vavke Yutke, the separation, that's the Mafrid Aluf. That comes from the chet that you want to separate the one only Ashpoach Hitzenis. I da by the Maisa Mitzvah Shupnes Kfir Bittel, like we said earlier, which is Vayita Isha, the Zemivim, Mesirim Alamas Vester, Vipkinas Ichud Zon, V'lo Yesis Vavke V'lo Yesis Yutke. So that explains the Hemshach HaPosuk. Vayita Eshel Be'Shava explained earlier on the Maimer that this is the Amshach of Maisa Mitzvahs, Imamshich from the highest level, from the shiur Ilan, in the Ilan, in the Soda, or the Meitzah Soda, and that brings Shem Havai Kel Oilam, the Ichud of Kel and Oilam, the Ichud Yud Kevav. Omnam, it says even more than that, in the Amshach he not only do we achieve that the Vav and Yudke united, something higher than that. In Amshach Shiur Vavke Gam from this Yudke. The Amshach brings it to state not only is the Vavke united with Yudke, the Vavke himself becomes like Yudke. And that's when another pasuk, the same pasuk actually, that the Gemara starts. What Iya means she Vavke K'ma Yudke. So he goes into the discussion is the Shayutke Pnes Hanistos Havay Elkein. Vavke Vaniglason, the two parts of Shem Havay. Yutke and Vavke. Yutke is Nistos, Vavke is Niglas. Vagil Lazulas ain't the call commercial atzmo because the Gil Lazulas. The Niglas, the Gil Lazulas is usually at my low level the way it's atzmo. Like in the older Mishalim, the Mashal of Rav Talmid, the way that Rav sees things himself is way higher than the way he expresses himself to the Makabli, to the students. So that way, Vavkin Yudke to different Madrigas. Mishum Zeh, Vavkin Yachal Liyes Alomis Vestir. How much cost of them in the Mitzvah? So remember, the whole Hemshach in Ameitza, the whole Hemshach of Roshana discussed the concept of Iye, that Yudke and Vavke are equal. That Vavke itself is Yudke. They remember the story. Mameitza calls it Yo. Not only about Yo. The two Yud, the Yudke is Nimshach in the Vavke. The Vavke becomes Yudke. Mishum Zeh bevavke Yisrael Masvesterim because Gil Zos ain't Kol Shalatzim. Avakasha Vavke Madegas Yudke Lo Yala Masvesterim. When the Vavke is the level of Yudke, there's not Masvesterim. Zeh the Amshochem Knes Atmosphere and so. That comes as a result of the Amshach of Master and Sob, which comes from Maisa Mitzvahs, like we said. Because the Yudke is in a higher level, so the Vavke also becomes the level of Yudke. There's another Remes. The Remes is what is saying by Kaddish, Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevor. So he says the word Yehei, interessant. Word Yehei is also Muhammad of the Yudke. שיהיה שם יודקי רבא מבוא, because of the it's another Maimon, the Maimon, I don't think, maybe it's not good to tell, I don't think. Anyway, so over there he explains how the Yesh Merabah with the Yudke is the Shmerab. Zeo Avay Echod, שיהיה based on Yudke. So that's, so now he goes back to the Pasuk. Avay Echod or Shmer Echod. So Avay Echod means that the Yudke, the Vavke is also Yudke. And no Shmoy Echad, she'en nichlo k'mo she'niklo. Shmei Echad means shenichtav k'mo shenikra, like the Gemara says. What's meant shenichtav k'mo shenikra? Eine shegam bebiyah yagil lepnes yutke. Now, he says, Ein Gemara Psachim v'tzarech shiur. The pshat we just said, that the inyan of Shmei Echad is the base from Yutke Tzarichin, because like we mentioned, the Gemara in Psachim, the Gemara that we started with, the Oto Yidin Alav Echadu. The Gemara says that now is Nikra Ba'avai, Nichtav Ba'avai, Nikra Ba'adne. La'asid Lav Nikra Ba'avai, Nichtav Ba'avai. So it's Yutke Vovke, there's no Yutke. So that's why it says Tzarichin. But I mean, it's what?
So the Yehei Shemer Rabba means that Yudke should be in the level, Vavke should be in the level of Yudke?
That's how he explains it to you, yeah. That the Mavor, that the Yudke should be Nimshach. Mavor
In the Vavke.
Yeah, in the Vavke. Yeah, that's how it's shot here.
So like so it is the Yudke is representing what? Then the Vavke representing what?
Yutke is the Meichin, the Gilui from Gilui Ashparchet Pnimis. The Yutke represents the Meichin. What he said earlier, the Chachma Bina. It doesn't the Nistoris, the level of Nistoris, the higher level of Helikus.
And Vavke was the Zoh, but that was Abu Ben, and that this was Zoh Malchus, no? Vavke was Zoh Malchus, and I think if we said it yesterday, no? And Yudke, or maybe I'm mistaken, but Yudke was Abba, and
Yudke is Abba, and Vavke is no, but that's it. You know, what we said yesterday is a different thing. He spoke about the mile of Ziva Gufni and Ziva Gufni. I don't think that's related. No, he's not talking about that part now, because over here he spoke fakir that this is higher.
Which is higher?
Here, Yutke is higher, but Pashtas Yutke is higher. Ziva Gufni means Pashtas is higher. There's the mile. There's a mile that was brought just to explain the mile of mitzvahs of a Torah. It's not that part of Ziva Gufni is not negated to this point here. He just said that the Yutke here is the higher Madriga, Nistoris, and Vavke is the lower Madriga, Niglas, and the Yichud Yutke and Vavke means that the higher Madriga is Nimshach and the lower Madriga. Again, that point with what you said, what earlier about Ziva Gufni and Ziva Gufni, that is not what that was brought just to make a point where mitzvah is higher than Torah as a dogma. But the poel here is Pashtas Avo Chachma Bina is higher than Zoh Malchus. Yeah, but in pointing out the interesting point that in the same Maimer he spoke the mile of Zoh Malchus, but that's not what he's talking about here. Vahainu. So what does it mean? He says another. Says a guy shegam bebiyah yagil upnes Yutke and Amshach M'Shem Avay Dalei.
Sheyeh nichtav k'moi shenikro. That means that it's the Gilui. Nikro is the Gilui the Yutke. So nichtav, even the nichtav should be also the Gilui.
Nichtav means gam bebiyah. That's meumas because ksiva is a lower level than dibur. Again, it's not marriage in it. Yeah, sometimes it talks about ksiva is like with your hand. It's more mice. Like dibur is a memutza between machshav and mice, and ksiva is mamash mice. So it's a yerida. Ksiva considered a yerida l'gabe dibur. Shegam b'biyai agil l'pnes yutke. V'hainu, so it brings another point. It's interesting. He didn't use the language of Havai Leila till now. But that madriga of the Havaya means Havai Leila, which is the Yutke. Zeo vayika shem Havai kel oilam. That's more what it says. V'shem Havai kel oilam. Sha'oilam batam yuchad betachlis. It's not kel ha'oilam. The oilam batam yuchad betachlis. So again, Yutke and Vavke is also like we learned in earlier Maimarim. Yichud Elo, Yichud Etato, Bitla Yesh, Bitla V'Mtzias. The Bitla V'Mtzias, the Yichud Elo is Nimshach in Yichud Etato. In the Madrig of Oilam. He just says it right now. Yutke Pnes Yichud Elo is now Bitla Gimel Rishonis. Yutke, that's Yichud Elo. that's Gimel Rishonos, that's Meichen, the bit of Meichen, the Lo, Vov Kev, Chnes Vaniglas, Chnes Taton, Kashavai Echod, Shvav Kama Yutke, Shmoicha, Shnim Shachagil, Gam Bia, אז גם למטה יביטל דיחודי לא, וכל כמה יקלחשו. It means that למטה, even למטה, we have the ביטל דיחודי לא. Actually, this is the same, if you remember, the Maimah before, also, the ultimate point in the Maimah before, when he spoke about Tevoscha Metaroscha, also he said how in the Mechaba Beis HaDeis, that the that the Yichud of Yichud Elo and Yichud Tatot. See, it's the same point. Shmoy, Gam Lamata Yichud Yichud Elo, Kam Galachshu. Zeni, Kail Oilam, Sha'olam Eidid Om B'nei Atzim Kim Batal B'Metzias. The Mamshach in this world, that Yichud of Yichud Elo means the perspective from above. That Lamaila Yesh Lamata Ein, that Kula Kam Galachshu, everything is insignificant. Because everything is bottom with sis. Calls there, and that the pasuk said before the pasuk says Vayita Ishla Be'ershava, and then Vayita Shom Shema Vayitalam. Calls there, Be'ershava. She'im Shechasil El Mishoshem, so because Avon, Mamshach the El Ne'elia Mishoshem Kayei. They say Vayita Shom Shema Vayitalam. She'im Shechil Shema Vayitalam Nizgal Lamata Bitul Dichodelo. He repeats the same point. V'zeh Vayita Ishla Pardes Knes El Ne'elian. He just summarizes the Maimah that Ita Eshel means the Pardes, like I said earlier, which is the Ilana alien. And Azada Atzil, Sheim Shachas Mishayish, Va'ita means Sheim Shachas Mishayish. They say, Vekasham Hashem, Vekel Oilam, it's gone Lamata, but Beetle Kines Echudelo. So that is the general point of the Maimah. Let's see. Page, go back to page 22. Here you give us a kitzur of this Maimah. Ve'ita Eshel Ve'ershava, the Eshel Yesh Beis Pirushim, Chadam HaPardes. הנה, עוד המצא סוד, שיסוד האילון גובר במעלה מן הענף. יסוד, אוקיי. שנה, כמו שקוראים באובס, כל שמייס מרובים מחוכמוסי, שענף המאות ושורש מרובים. היינו שמייס, אף שנכנס גילה, מגיע לכנס שרש ומוקר נשמה של המייל. So to the mice we get to the sheresh. הנה, יש מחלק, אז מישהו צריך כוונה, אלוהי, כוונה פירושי, כוונה המצווה, which is the כוונה על צעריזו, ואיקו אבא וירא ודבקת, זה הפנס התיים. אף שתיים המצווה נסגל, הוא, the other question, אחרי תיים המצווה נסגל, כאן יש כוונה, זה קורה על עצם התיים. פנס הקצר, שזה לא עושה, אחת יש נאוס התיים, מסתבש בחוק. אוקיי. ומן דאום המצווה אין צריך כוונה, משהו שסב, שאיקו רוצן דמצווה, שבכל המצווה בשווה של מייל מאוס התיים. זהו ושם דרך הוויה, שהוא כוונס המצווס, that's what was in the pasuk, שם דרך הוויה, כמובן, אתה ממשיך עם טייס וסרץ, ועשת מצווה קומיש, ואתה מייס המצווס, ופועל ממש. כמו שהוא כוונס המצווס, מייס המצווס, על דרך זה בעניין תאו מצווס. It's similar to comparison, כוונה, מייס, זה זאת תאו מצווס, תאו מחוכמה, סדר שלש לס תאו פנס האור בלבד, על דרך יחוד אבו, המילים נשומס. What? It's a mistake here, I guess, but I think it's full of mistakes. Not in the Neshama. Zich davo is malachim, not Neshama. Zich davo milim malachim. Mitzvahs in shachas etz. Chen ha-mitzvahs in b'shove, b'etzel kol yisot. Ha-mitzvahs in b'sichat zun, shpun b'sichat guchnu. Achvara b'shachas etzim, שזה בעלו החדש. זה שמייץ המיtzvah בכפי, שעדי זה נמשך היום יותר. זהו שחוכמה נקרא ענב, המייסה נקרא שרש, דחוכמה פרס גילה לבד, המייסה נמשך עצמי. זהו ואת האישל, שהאישל לגודל זו דאצילוס, עבור ממשך באילון, מהשרש שלו כנס עצמי. זהו ויקר שם בשם הווי כאילו אילם, שאילם בטל בתחת, ושלא עושה לו בהם איש, אז וופקי מתי יגסיות. Okay. So, okay, we got the general picture of the mind. All right, we'll start in the mind with that. What time is it? Oh, okay, we'll start in the mind. Page Samaches, Shabbos, Toldos, Ein Ches. Ve'ela, Toldos, Yitzchak ben Avram, Avram, Eli, this Yitzchak. So the pasuk says, the pasuk describes the beginning of Pashas Toldos about Avram and Yitzchak. Tzorich la'ovin, I said the famous question, Rashi asks, tzorich la'ovin carefully, why is it's a duplicate? Ach, Hashem, tells Yitzchak ben Avram, what is the point of this achpal duplication? So, all right, so start. So God jumps in right into the view of Chassidus, Kabbalah. והנה ידוע עד אברהם ויצחק מבחינת חסד הגבול. אברהם היה מקום מבחינת חסד. אברהם אבינו וזה מקום מבחינת חסד, כשכוסו הפרדס, שם ספר הבויר, זה famous ספר הבויר. אומר מבחינת חסד לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, כל ימי יויס אברהם באורץ, הצלחת לעשות מלאכתי שאברהם עומד משמש במקומי, הולו. So במילא, we see that Avram is the representative of the Chesed. The Uvda shel Eisha my shiur says. Michael Mashkel Koil is to feed and give food and drink. When she calls a Veita Eshel Be'er Shova, so the word Asher, it says Asher, and maybe it says Eshel. That's what it says.
It's funny that the mimer we just finished also started with Ashel, and here you're saying the second shot in Ashel.
Yeah. So
That's interesting.
It's very interesting. Yeah. If you follow the Maimor, we learned all Maimor, they're very connected one to each other. Officially, it's not a hemshach. It's not a hemshach, but when you take a look at it, the topics are they continue talking about very similar ideas. Yeah. Over here, Mamash means the pasuk, right? Eshel Shtevas at a different shot. Eshel Shtevas Achila Shtia Levaya. She'echel Vishkal Chayim Shavim. Okay, brings the famous medrash. V'shomalem Bochel Mishachatim Mishalei Dul Miyatam Vochim Shtia Lekos Abayil. Famous Rashi. Zev Vayikashem Shem Abaykel. Olam Shilach Shem Shagil Lekos Abayil. So there's two parts. In other words, when they say Avram is chesed, there are two parts. First of all, chesed in the simple sense, kindness, that he was kind to everybody, he fed everybody. But also the deeper meaning of chesed means amshachas halikus ba'olam. So we see that also by that's also chesed, gil halikus. That's the Avram did that too. Yitzchak, Yitzchak I'm a call with this gvur. Yitzchak is gvur, Meshikoso, so that it brings much less. But Avram chesed it brings a lot of sources. When I get to Yitzchak, it just brings one line. Meshikoso, pasuk in. There was a pasuk in Vayetze. Remember? In Vayetze. Pachad Yitzchak oyoli. When Yaakov talks to Rachel and Leah, he describes the Eibush as Pachad Yitzchak. Why Pachad Yitzchak? Because Yitzchak's avodah was in Pachad, Gvur, Ir. So that's the two. So we see that Avram and Yitzchak Chesed and Gvur. Chesed and Gvur, what is the two madrigas Chesed and Gvur? Because Erev and Chosh. Chesed and Gvur also are called Erev and Chosh, light and darkness. Chesed and Pchinas Kumeshakasu. So it brings a few sources for to prove the chesed is oil. Number one, Kumeshakasu va'ika lekimas oil kitov. It says in Pasuk va'ya lekimas oil kitov. The day so the tov it's good. Ksiv ach tov v'chesed lefoni. Tov chaz dachem achayim chesed v'tov v'minyan echad. Okay, so kindness and goodness are one thing. Chesed and tov, but oil is called kitov. So tov is chesed. Shneim lecholim Meshakasu oil kitov. It's chesed and tov. It says oil kitov. It's also called chesed. So we see that oil is chesed. Gvur means opposite of chesed. Eder, the lack of oil. Oil is chosh. So maybe it's oil chosh. Also, Zoya, but really the old thing says in Zoya. It's clear in Zoya. Zoya tells us after from Aleph Salon base. Says in Pasuk, Va'ikra likim la'oyer yoim. La'choisha kara la'oyer, says the Zoya, la'oyer da Avram. V'la'choisha da Yitzchak. So we see that Oyer Choisha, that Chesed and Gvura, Oyer Choisha are the same. Now he goes digs into this concept more. The concept of Oyer is Gilim in El. Which is Kosov, Yotzer Oyer B'Oyer Choisha. So it says Yotzer Oyer B'Oyer Choisha means that Choisha Yotzer and Boyer. Boyer means creating. Yotzer means forming. So the oil is forming, which is the lower level. And Choshech is Boyer. The Yitzira, what is, so that means the Yitzira is Galus. Yitzira, the concept of Yitzira, that's it. Is Galus in Atzura. Is a Prince Oil. Is Galus means it's a revelation in a way, it has a shape and form, the Makabel to be able to receive. Mele, so that's Prinas Ubrio Chaimer. Chaimer means the material, not the tzura. The tzura of a chaimer. Yeah, it's chaimer without a vav, but usually it means chaimer. It means like tzura and chaimer, matter and form.
So the chaimer is higher than the tzura in this context.
Exactly in this context, yeah. It's okay. Well, that's what we'll discuss. One second. That's the point we're discussing. That's what he says. The helem, the hidden is higher than the revealed. The gilim and elam is a she'elam is gala. Gilim min helem, elam shapnas elam. So gilim in elam means what's hidden, it stays hidden. Though from the hidden part, something comes out. Meile in Cain, then the question, Lama nika elam chayshan vagila earth. It's an interesting type of question. It's like a real Chassidish question. Since Helem is higher than Gilui, so why is Helem called Choshech and Gilui called Oyer? The simple assumption is Oyer is higher than Choshech. Helem is so the Helem should be called Oyer and the Gilui should be called Choshech. It's an interesting question. Okay, it's not a question really. It's a way. It's a matter. It's a way of expressing the concept. The helem of this cure with the concept of helem is really cure with vegas vimkir. It's a state that the state where we're talking about the energy, godly energy. It's a state that's in a proximity. It's close and cleaves to its source. Because it's connected to its source so strongly, that's why it's called Chosha, because any mitzias oil. So the fact that it's not Mizgal Lamata is the result. So that's the way Chassidus analyzes what's happening here. It's almost counterintuitive. So the reason it's dark is not because it's not as a result of his soul. It's a mile because it can't be. It's too close to its source. It's a level of, okay, in the language he's using, it's hard to grasp, but let's say use the language of Rav Talmud. So that level of understanding, the way the teacher understands the concept, is so high that to the Talmud it looks dark. You can't relate to it. It's not because it's higher level. That says because that concept, the way it's in the, like I'm giving you the mashal of Rav Talmud, that's a standard mashal, that because that concept is so deep within the mind of the teacher, so strongly connected to the essence of the teacher, so the student cannot relate to it. That's why it's choshev. The Gilu Davka Pnes Richuk Mimkoyer. So when Mela says Gilu is something that is galus that's Richuk Mimkoyer, that's to be removed from itself. Our Pnes Kil Gamkoyer, when it's close and contained within the source, then it's Choshech. Zayn and Ber Choshech leads the Bria Pnes Kil of Lain Aliki, the Madriga of Bria, like I said, the different Bria Nitzir, Bria creation that's closer to the Koyach Hamahava, to the Ain Aliki. That's something that we learned a few places that really, that's a language that the Ramban uses in Ramban, right in the beginning of Chumash, he says over there that the Chayma Rishon, the pure, the Toyev, and I think in the pasuk Toyev Avoy, the first creation was so close to the Koyach Haliki. Yesharishan, it's Korev La'ain. The Ain Alkin Noisal, Yesharishan, the Ain Alkin Noisal Alatzli. It's almost the Yesh which is still within the Ain. Melech is Chaycha, Shenef is Metzias Dover Ba'atzli. That's not Machav. Yitzira, Mashen, Nina Yitzira, Shisrach Mimkoyer Ain Alkin, is Metzias Ervigilu. So what did we learn here? What is the summary of what we learned? That in a way that the way he describes cheshach and cheshach is higher than cheshach means the way the level of that energy is in a state, is such a high state of connecting to its source that to us it's dark. We can see, we can relate to it. We can relate to it. And the lower level is oil, which is removed from its source. So more in the world of the Makabnim. That's why the Makabnim can see it. Yuvan Zel Derech Mashal. So there, bring a Mashal to give it a better understanding. Oira Lavona Shemeir Lamat. We see that the Oira Lavona, the light of the moon, but it shines. At night we see the light. See the moon. So what happens in the Kashabakir Vela Shemesh? Ismaita. Really? What does that mean? I don't know what it means. Gashmit. I see there's a safer element. When the Levon is in a state, Kir Vela Shemesh means So I guess he talks about the cycle of the monthly cycle.
The 15 of the month and the Rosh Chodesh, as opposed.
Yeah, Mashu Kazeh. Kir Vela Shemesh means it's closer to the Moilad, the Smaita, the less light. Rak Shmisrak Cheges Me'ashemesh, as is always in Earth. Kol Shmisrak Cheges Yesai Teisei V'Yesai. The further, okay, let's read what he says, then we'll try to understand what he's saying here. The further than the Levana is make more distant, more far from the Shemesh. It turns to be a action be'emtza achidesh the oz oira betachlis hashleimus. In the middle of the month, then we have the full moon oira betachlis hashleimus. Because in that stage, the one is the furthest from the sun. I'm not sure he's talking about the physical description. Let's see what he says till then. Then the one that gets closer to the sun again, and that because it gets closer, so the light diminishes. The end of the month, when it's in a full state of proximity, very close to the sun, then get darkness totally. How do we explain this in practical terms? I guess, everybody uses maybe alludes to the concept that the moilad alavana, moilad is that in the moilad is the unity, the unites. And it's called moilad. The sun and the moon united, but the moilad, the further it goes away from the moilad, from the shchedesh, it means conceptually the Levana gets further away from the sun. Maybe there's a better explanation. Okay, I'll look. I see there's a Mamakam and Sefer. I'll look there. Maybe there's a better explanation. Okay. So that proves the point he made before that the is when the
it's not a physical. It's not a physical.
I mean, as far as I know, I don't think that in the middle of the month the Levana is further from the sun. But I don't think so. I don't know if that's the way it works.
Okay.
I mean, and the simple reason why the Levan that's just the Levan
reflection.
The way we understand the Pashtus, the Levana has two halves. One half faces the sun, one half doesn't face the sun. So what's happening here? That part of Levana that faces the sun, we see now on Earth. So when we see it here, then it's a full moon. And the rest of the time, that part of the sun, of the Levana that faces the sun, is turning. We don't see that part. That's why we see only half a moon. That's the simple Gashmisk understanding of this moon cycle. So it's nothing. Shiur has nothing to do with how far the Levana is from the Shemesh, the Gashmisk. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe okay. I'll try to he said
the part that faces the sun is shining.
Yeah. Exactly. So that part that faces the sun always shines, but we don't see in the middle of the month, we see that half of the sun, the moon that faces the sun. In the beginning of the month, we only see part of it. The other part doesn't face us. It faces the sun. It doesn't face us. That's why we don't see it. That's a simple understanding of the cycle of the moon. Because the moon turns in a way, but the Pashtus, it's not related to how close and farthest from the sun. The way he explains it here, okay, we have to research on this.
But it's not saying that we see it more. It doesn't say that. It's saying that the or.
Exactly.
I
describe the way we understand it with Pashtus. That's not what he's saying here. Obviously, that's here. The way he describes it here. Let's look at it from his perspective. Ignore what we see now. And the perspective is Moilad Levana is the time when the sun and the moon are very close, right? That's the Rosh Chodesh. And then every day that passes, the moon gets further away from the sun, so we can see more light. And the ultimate distance is in the middle of the month. That's why we see the full light. That's why he understands it here, right? Then it gets more closer again to the sun. That's why we see less light. That's what he explains it. That's the idea that he says it. Like I said, we have to understand how it relates to the way we understand the whole sun and moon situation. But this is a marshal of what he said earlier, that in the Cheshach, it's that when it's closer to the source, it's Cheshach. When it's further, it's that's what he said. The Shamayavon Makabel is not Shemesh because Levana and the Shemesh Levana is Makabel Shemesh. Makabel should be killed when it's be up in his beetle when it's Cheshach. Okay, now he brings another dogma. Again, that's another dogma. We also had a similar concept that when you have it, in other words, you have to have three levels here. There was the teacher, you have the person who's Makabel, and then there's the third, the teacher, let's say the Meturguman, right? So the three stages here. So if the Makabel is in a state of full beetle, he cannot repeat what the teacher told him. That's what Marshall says here. שהמקבל שכלל המשפיע הוא מבחינת ביטל, מבחינת חיישה בעצמה. When the makabel is too close to the משפיע, he's in a state of חיישה, ביטל. שם זה אין מבחינת גילוי, יש מבחינת משפיע זה לא עושה. So you can never, he's so overwhelmed by the oil that he gets from the משפיע, that he cannot be a משפיע himself. So we have, let's say we have two, okay, we bring from our own life, we had the Rebbe spoke, right? There's a chayzer which listens, and then he repeats it to the Sidim, right? That's a so he says if the chayzer, the makabel, is the state of total bittul to the mashpia, he can't. His bottle is insignificant. Then he cannot express take the idea that he picked up from the mashpia and mimamsh to the makabel. He's in a state of bittul. Ain't a place gilly. It brings the famous expression from Ilchas Melicha. Aida the Toid Lemiva loy polit. Because he's busy, he's preoccupied. With Mivla, with being a makabel loy polit, he cannot be a mashpia. That I think, like I said, this is something in Ilchas Melicha, like a bit dumb. That when he's busy spilling, consuming, he cannot be poilet. But that preoccupation to be a makabel and miva to swallow, that's the bittul. Kasha misrach mashpia, mashenga when he gets away, gets further away, and the mashpia also brings metzius, brings mashpia. Then he becomes his own metzius. It can be a mashpia. That can be Kamei can be levana. He repeats back the meaning of the levana. Mashmei, what does the levana give? The levana doesn't have its own light. It's only a makabel from the shemesh. Yes, but shemesh ain't a class. So when the levana is closer to the shemesh, when it's close to the mashpia, ain't a class. Akish misrachek is in the shemesh. Also b'chinas miyolamat. Only when the levana gets further away from the sun, only then is it meir lamat. Then let's say there's another marshal. Forget about the levana. The Oil Hashemesh itself, the light of the sun, the rays of the sun. Shukol be'etzem Hashemesh, when the Oil Hashemesh is contained within the essence of the shemesh, ein Oil Hashemesh zivklal. That's a Lashon Tanya in Sheikhat Vemuna. There was we had all mine. It was Medayik a lot in Samachei. Diyukim in this Lashon in Lashon of Tanya in Sheikhat Vemuna. The way that the light of the sun is contained within the body of the sun, over there it's not even called light. It doesn't have the name light. Only when the light leaves the body of the sun, then it can shine. But within the body of the sun, it's a bottle. It's not a metzius. It doesn't shine. I don't call it. We call it chayshach in a certain sense. How is that possible? How's that happen to the oil that is made? They are not, because there is the what is the word? The cover. It's
a shield, no?
Shield, right? The shield. So the shield, the mortgage, the shield, nothing, like a pouch. So we see here in this entire discussion how do we get the real gilui only through when we get away from the source. That's the key point here. The chayshach is not talking about chayshach and the chayshach when it's within the source, it's chayshach. Only when it reaches out, then it becomes oil. Okay, but we're still in the middle of this discussion. We'll continue tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.